up on Baseball Tonight. The Pirates don't leave spring training empty-handed as they lock up Andy Van Slyke. For the umpires, it looks like a lockout for opening day. So today, instead of calling balls and strikes, they just called a strike. In the Hotel California, we'll go interleague in the Freeway Series. And we'll keep the pink champagne on ice for the winner of the Bay Bridge Series. Will there be bubbly for the Mets or Blue Jays this season? We'll check out their final spring tune-up on a spring day at Shea. You can just about taste opening day on Baseball Tonight. Yes! Hello once again, everybody. I'm Chris Berman along with Ray. I dubbed the night. No, you haven't turned your clocks ahead or backwards too early. A little auto racing. The network of baseball, though, will wait. And Baseball Tonight is with you this evening, a little past midnight. We're ready to roll. It's almost opening day. The defending NL East champion Pittsburgh Pirates have been team contract all spring long. From arbitration to a lack of signing their biggest stars to new long-term deals at big-time bucks. Today, as the call of opening day beckons, the Pirates delivered a solid base hit, inking center fielder Andy Van Slyke to a 3-year contract extension worth $12.65 million. It kicks in next season. It puts to rest one of Pittsburgh's worries, which was losing the 3-time Golden Glover to free agency at the end of this campaign. For the 30-year-old Van Slyke, it was a culmination of a strong relationship between the team and the city that began when he came over in a trade from St. Louis just before the start of the '87 season. It also happens to make him the 4th highest paid player in the game once the contract begins.
Haven't really analyzed that, thought about it. It's not important to me. You know, if it was, I probably would have become a free agent. And I don't want to get into those lottery numbers games. It's irrelevant. The most important thing is that I wanted to be the Pirate. And it got done.
It certainly did get done if you're keeping score. When all these new contracts kick in, only the Rocket Man, the Doctor, and Jose on top of Andy Van Slyke. It is $4.22 a year salary for over the next 3 years, starting in '92. But if you wait a week, the rankings certainly will change. For Pittsburgh, it's an impressive start in their dilemma with their Big Four, with Bobby Bonilla up for free agency after this season, and Barry Bonds and Doug Drabek up after 1992.
I think a lot of times it's misinterpreted. Bonds has 2 more years here, so that's somewhere down the road. As far as Bonilla is concerned, we made our best pitch, and that didn't work, so I consider the fact that we have Bobby for 1 more year, and then we'll have to replace him next spring.
You made your best pitch. Did you make your final pitch?
Yes, sir.
He's told you that, but that's fine. That's fine, too. I'll play my season with a smile on my face as usual and just do the things it's going to take to win a pennant in Pittsburgh, no question about it.
And we'll have more, Ray, and we'll talk about the Pirates situation in a moment. Earlier this week, the New York Mets paid good and plenty. Fellow pitcher Frank Viola wanted similar music, but when such a tune wasn't forthcoming here at the end of spring training today, rather than go and negotiate through the season, Viola decided he will opt for free agency at season's end. The Mets' latest offer to Viola was $13 million for 3 years. On the final weekend of spring training, the regular umps were called out at the plate, and replacements worked the games, as they will, it appears, on opening day Monday. Contract talks broke down at 3 this morning when umpires union chief negotiator Richie Phillips turned down baseball's final offer on salary. The regular umps struck today's games, knowing they'll be locked out starting on Monday. It seems as if most other issues were resolved at the bargaining table, but the end result is that the regular season games will be without the regular umpires for the first time, regular season now, since 1979. So, with backup men in blue working the games, the final weekend of preseason action continued, which in the LA area means the resumption of the Freeway Series. Last night, Dodgers beat the Angels 4-2 at Dodger Stadium in front of almost 45,000. Tonight, they are underway at the Big A. Pitchers duel between the Dodgers and the Angels. Angels hurling Mark Langston tonight. Darryl Strawberry steals second base. That's right, the straw man stealing bases. So with none out in the top of the second, Jeff Hamilton, Frank, Joe, and Reynolds with a base hit to right field. Strawberry scores. Dodgers led it 1-0. They got some good pitching tonight from Kevin Gross. And right now they are 1-1 in the 7th inning. Langston still hurling, and Tim Pablo Cruz has come on in the 6th inning in relief of Kevin Gross. In Las Vegas, the hot chip series between San Diego and Seattle. Last night, Seattle won 7-2. Scott Bankhead pitching for Seattle, and guess who's playing defense? Junior Kenny Griffey Jr. Guess who's playing offense? Junior Kenny Griffey Jr. Way back over the high side over Smokey's baseball card shops. It's gone. And Seattle now leads that game 6-4 in the 7th. San Diego getting back in on a 3-run shot just a few moments ago by Benito Il Duce Santiago. They play again there in Vegas tomorrow. By the way, the Angels and Dodgers play again at Anaheim tomorrow. Bay Bridge Series, Giants and the A's. A's won in Oakland 1-0 last night in Oakland today. Eric Wynn placing Chow. Scary moment. Off the elbow. Matt Williams. But Matty did not need to look for a second chance. Stayed in the game. He was all right. Top of the 3rd with 2 on. Base hit up the middle. Mark Leonard scores. The Giants picked up 2 in that frame. Meanwhile, good news for the Giants. He missed a week because of a tightness in his rotator cuff. But Scotty Garrelts, 4 1/3, gave up 2 singles. And there you see the K, frontwards and backwards. The Canseco, Henderson, and Mark McGuire. And the Giants, behind Garrelts, go on to beat the Oakland A's 2-0. They go tomorrow to Candlestick to settle that Bay Series. Brewers and the Cubs, yeah, they were at Wrigley. And the wind blowing straight out. Everybody needs spring training, even the legend. Yeah, the Hawks. How about the announcers, Harry?
There's a drive way back. It might be. It could be. It's going to be. And it is caught.
That's why they play these games, for all of us, believe me. Rhino leaves, no doubt. It might be, it could be. It's not a doubt. The only guy that needs effort is that guy out there. The band was in tune. Cubs lead at 1-0. Move to the top of the 9th. Cubs lead at 2-1. But Robin Yount having a tough spring training, but bring him north of Arizona. And he puts the Brewers ahead 3-2 with a 2-run hit. Cubs with 2 on, bottom of the 9th. The youngster Gary Scott with the smash. Billy Spires fires. Got it. Brewers at Wrigley beat the Cubs by a count of 3-2. Cubs left fielder George Taco Bell was a late scratch from today's lineup because of an inflammation of his left knee. Cubs say his knee will be drained. It'll be fine. He'll be fine for opening day Tuesday against St. Louis. Let's go to the Pirates, Ray, and Andy Van Slyke. Now, we heard Bonilla talk, and he was upbeat. I don't think the door is closed on either side. That's my personal opinion. Although for a while the Bonilla and Pirates will cool any talks. But by signing Van Slyke, I think the Pirates are showing their fans, are showing their players they're at least willing to play ball, at least for starters. They're not the Three Sisters of the Poor.
Well, this is a big signing for the Pirates, no doubt about it. You know, the Bonds and Van Slyke situation is very different. Bonilla and Van Slyke all in that one-year contract situation, so that they had to try to sign them. The Pirates have always had a policy that they try to sign the guys with one-year contracts to long-term deals. What happened there, they tried everything they could to sign Bobby Bonilla. Finally, they realized that they weren't going to get it done, that he was unsignable. Then they turned their attention to Van Slyke, and he got the big money. But what it does, Chris, it gives them 3 of the big 4, Van Slyke, Bonds, and Drabek. And those guys are tremendous players for 2 years guaranteed, and the fact that they're going to have Bonilla for this season.
You know, short of signing all 4, and they weren't necessarily trying to sign all 4 in the spring trade, but short of signing 2 or 3 guys, I think the Pirates come north now with a signing, and with the way Leland handled the incident with Bonds at spring training, and his guys have been playing hard, there have been no flare-ups since, I think they come north about as well as they could have hoped given the circumstances, don't you?
Well, I agree with you. Like we said, 3 of the 4 players are under contract for the next 2 seasons. My only problem is this. Yeah, Barry Bonds is absolutely devastated because of what happened in spring training. He's concerned, very sensitive man. I don't expect him to be there in 2 years. I thought that this ball club would contend for the next 4 or 5 years, keeping those guys together. You know, Bonilla now is hurt because of what's happened, him not getting signed. I hate to see a team like this getting broken up, but sometimes that's the economics of baseball, and obviously that's what's happening here.
Well, they're in it this year, and they're trying to do what no team in the NL East has done through the 80s, and that is repeat as champs. They certainly have a good shot. Still to come in this edition of Baseball Tonight, more Saturday highlights from the South, North, East, and West. We know geography here. And our previews continue with a look at the Astros and the Detroit Tigers, who are looking for a bushel full of homers again from the first American leaguer to hit 50 in almost 30 years, Cecil Fielder. We'll be back.
Baseball Tonight is brought to you by Levi's Dockers. Relax, you're among friends.
Welcome back to a late edition of Baseball Tonight. Chris Berman along with Ray Knight. The Houston Astros have never made the World Series, but twice last decade, 1980 and 1986, they helped provide two of the most exciting NLCSs in recent memory. They better hold on to those memories because the odds are very long against their forging their way into the NLCS this season. But our Peter Gammons, who certainly knows his music, says maybe it's a Dan Fogelberg scenario because it's all part of a plan.
The first thing the Astros had to do this spring was try to figure out who's who. Like, guys, it's Tuffy Rhodes and Dave Rhodey.
The spelling is a little different in Rhodey and Rhodes, but once we got to see them play a little bit, we knew who was who.
You walk by a lot of guys, say, hey, how's it going? And they know you don't know their name.
A lot of these guys I've never seen before, and it's new, it's different.
This is the team after the neutron bomb hit. Gone are 70% of their home runs, two of their three winningest starting pitchers, and their entire bullpen, which was one of the two best in the league. This spring, it's as if the Astros just posted a sign saying, jobs available.
We did not break up a powerhouse ball club in Houston. That ball club was fading, it was getting older, and we had good young players coming in our system.
They've thrown 4 positions in the entire bullpen up for grabs. Eric Yelding and Craig Biggio are finally being allowed to settle at one position apiece for the entire season. The surprises have been the hitting of Luis Gonzalez and Jeff Bagwell. Both Schilling and rookie Darryl Kyle have big-time closing stuff. Remember, this is a bullpen that's lost 257 appearances, 35 saves, and 23 wins. The last of the once great Astros pitching staff is Scott, who knows that despite minor off-season surgery, he's likely to be traded either before the season or before the July 31st trading deadline.
I get ready to pitch opening day. That's what I come down here for, and you know, I hear the trade talks and the trade rumors, but I don't let them bother me. I heard them all last year.
Scott is throwing better than he has the last couple of springs, so until and if they trade him and Jim DeShays, the rotation should be stable, especially given Pete Harnish's workhorse reputation. That is, as long as the spring's enthusiasm lasts through the season.
Oh, block! Go, Nick, keep going, man!
What the Houston ball club is doing is based on success that the White Sox have had in Baltimore, and if you look at the winners last season, they built their ball clubs through strong nucleus in the farm system. You've got to have that commitment, and you can't wake up one morning and decide you're going to do that commitment overnight.
This is the year the Astros are finally going to find out about Anthony and Yelding, while they break the kids, Bagwell, Finley, and Gonzalez into the lineup. And by September, they'll also have Andujar Cedeno and the speedy Kenny Lofton breaking in. On October 6th, the Stros can say, we're going to have a heck of a team in 1992. They will have fulfilled their foremost expectations. This is Peter Gammons, ESPN.
All right, Peter, thank you. Ray, the Glenn Davis trade obviously tells us where they're going. What do they do with Mike Scott now?
Well, Glenn Davis trade told you one thing. They're going for youth. They've got Steve Finley, who's an outstanding defensive outfielder. He's got great speed. He can hit. They've got Kurt Schilling and Pete Harnish, who are great young pitchers. And you look here at the graphic here. They have Caminiti and Bagwell, who are set at first and third. Biggio, who's going to catch. Yielding's going to play shortstop. Finley in center field. What they're going to do with Mike Scott is they're going to trade him, I think, sometimes later in the season and try to fill those two voids. On the mound, they'll have to get a pitcher for Mike Scott, a young pitcher that can throw well, and obviously, I think, an outfielder with some power and some speed. So they're going in a youth movement. They definitely have some direction.
Well, they have direction. A lot of fans may not agree with it, but they have their plan, as you saw right there. Still to come, The Jays fly into Shea to take on the Mets. And we'll preview the Detroit Tigers. But first, in talking Tigers, you must think of their keystone combination, a mirror image in the truest sense of the word. Alan Trammell, Sweet Lou Whitaker, both broke in 1977. Over the career, average close, homers close, ribbies close, fielding great. We'll be back. Tomorrow night, Baseball Tonight for an hour takes a look at the 91 season. We'll preview the season. Ray, Peter, yours truly, a cast of thousands. That's Sunday, 10 Eastern, 7 on the West Coast. The Toronto Blue Jays journey to New York every season, but never to Shea Stadium. That would have to be, you see, in the World Series, or for one glorious spring afternoon in the Big Apple, an early April preseason curtain closer against the Mets. And placement umpire Bob Nelson working the plate, top of the first. He saw the Sarge, Joe Carter, take David Silicone back, gone. It's a 2-run over. The Jays led it 2-0. But to the bottom of the 10th we go, tied at 2. Vince Coleman, and this is what speed can do, forces Kelly Gruber to fire quickly and errantly. Darrell Please comes to Boston, scores, and the Mets with speed beat the Blue Jays at Shea 3-2 in 10. Toronto finishes 9-19-2. But that's why they call it spring training. Elsewhere around the spring training, Washington, D.C. Red Sox and Orioles playing there today and tomorrow. There's Tip throwing out the first pitch. Guy who looked impressive throwing out many pitches, Danny Theory Darwin. Pays Glenn Davis. Then Dennis Lamp against his former Dewey Evans in Orioles shirt. Doesn't look right. The pitch didn't look right to Dewey either. Red Sox win it 4-1. Fort Myers, Scott Leyes could have won the third base job for Tom Kelly's Twins. Takes his 4th home run out of the park off the gambler. Kenny Rogers. Twins win it 4-3. They're 21-10 in the spring. Break them up in Richmond. Braves and Cards. Cards, Ken Hill won 5 2/3, 5 Ks. Gave up only 2 hits. Get Mike Keith there. Cards win it 2-1. Houston and Philadelphia. Astros led the Phillies 7-1. But we saw it last year. The Phillies come back. Nails. Lenny Dykstra hits the back. 2-run homer. Eventually the Phillies tie it in the 9th. And in the 11th. They complete their come-from-behind win on the John Morris single. Ricky Jordan scores 8-7 Phils in 11 innings. Opening day, the Astros and the world champion Cincinnati Reds. We begin 168 live games Monday, 2 Eastern, Houston at Cincy. We'll be back. So, whither Sparky Anderson's Tigers this season, a team you could almost count on to contend every year in the 80s. But these are the 90s, a rebuilding time with a couple of notable exceptions. Plus, Detroit's Cecil produced last season better than Cecil B. DeMille did in his Hollywood heyday. Here's Gary Miller.
For the first time in his professional life, Cecil Fielder has a job to call his own, one he doesn't have to fight for, move to Japan for, or explain his pay for. This season, he's free of all weighty matters, even the home run chase.
There's a long fly ball to left down the line. If it stays there, it's gone. It's a fair ball. Hits the facing of the upper deck. Home run number 50.
It was an incredible season. I'm just, happy finally that I got a chance to prove that I could play, and all the negative questions, weight, money, all that is kind of behind me. Now they understand that, this is me.
Led by Fielder's 51, the Tigers already led the league in long balls. Now they're adding Milwaukee's top home run hitter the past 5 years, Rob Deere, and Oriole masher Mickey Tettleton.
It's a muscle team, and I like it for our ballpark, and in American League ballparks, too. We have a lot of parks in our league that really lend to power.
In addition to nearly 100 home runs, Deere, Fielder, and Tettleton combined to fan nearly 500 times, which could introduce air conditioning to Tiger Stadium.
It might be a cool summer, but, I think that, Cecil hit 180-something strikeouts last year, but look what he did offensively. His run production was there, and that's what we're here for, to drive in runs and to hit the occasional home run.
Travis Fryman hit more than the occasional home run, winning the third base job. If Milt Kyler can stick in center field and add the dimension of speed, these Tigers will really roar. And with this lineup, Kyler may not even have to hit to break in. The middle gives new meaning to me to the order for a team that was already second in the league in runs scored. The cornerstone, as always, is the keystone. Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell are starting a record 14th straight season together.
Trammell and Whitaker are as embedded in Tiger tradition as Joker Marchant Stadium in the spring. But another guy who broke into the rotation the same year they took over in the infield has gone. And Jack Morris takes back to his home state of Minnesota a team leading 15 victories and almost 250 innings from a staff that could hardly afford to lose them.
I think we're going to have to be able to swing and match up with clubs with two different people, a left-hander against certain clubs and a right-hander against others when Jack's turn would, you know, come about, and then be able to get help out of our bullpen to those two people.
Better get me now. This may be the last day you can.
This is what Sparky has to choose from, an aging, ineffective staff that for the second straight year was last in the league in earned run average. Bill Gullickson must return to his pre-Japanese form because, remarkably, Frank Tanana is the opening day starter.
The pitching really isn't as bad as everybody says it is, I don't think. You know, and I'm sort of the believer that it's a team concept where, if the pitching gives up 7 runs, the offense has to score 8, you know. And on the days when the pitching, you know, when the hitters only get 2 runs, the pitcher can only give up 1.
The bullpen led the league in work, more than 500 innings, with Jerry Don Gleaton enjoying career highs in almost every category as a lefty complement to Mike Henneman. But if they're asked to work as often, they're not likely to be as effective.
It's important for, you know, the starters to get into the latter part of the game, you know, get over the middle inning hump.
We have really improved, and I'll tell people the truth. If we get any pitching at all, we're going to be able to compete.
The Stripe Points added 20 additional wins last season. An extra 10 could be enough to sneak away the East this time. They can't get it done with the current pitching staff, but they'll certainly tear up some others during the hunt. From Lakeland, Gary Miller, ESPN.
All right, Gary, thank you. Fryman, Kyler, you like them both, huh?
I surely do. Milt Kyler is going to add something this team sorely needs, and that's some speed. He can steal 20 bases, outstanding defensively. But Travis Fryman is a guy that I really like. Is great power. They've converted him from shortstop to third base. Real good hands, and he's going to be the Tim Wallach of the 1990s, I think.
Wow, that's a big statement right there. And if you're a youngster, you love playing for Sparky because that enthusiasm goes a long way. It's a perfect manager for kids like that. We'll be back to wrap it up on this edition of Baseball Tonight in a moment. Stay with us.
ESPN Baseball Tonight is brought to you by Michelob Dry Beer. Once you experience the bold taste with no aftertaste, there's no going back.
Back on the Baseball Tonight, let's update the 2 late games going on to the Freeway Series. Dodgers lead the Angels 2-1 in the 8th. And in Vegas, Seattle leads the Pods 6-5 in the 9th. Those 2 teams will play again in each of those spots tomorrow afternoon. Baseball Tonight tomorrow evening at 7:30 Eastern Time for a half hour. Then our hour preseason special at 10 Eastern Time. Sports Center comes your way at 2 a.m. No, we fooled you. To turn the clock ahead, it'll be 3 a.m. For Ray Knight, I'm Chris Berman. Have a good morning, good night, whenever we are.